Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for February 26, 2018. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by the kindergartners from Mohansick, and then please remain standing for a moment of silence for our armed forces, those in our community that have lost loved ones, especially the mother-in-law of Nick Sereni, and please keep the Parkland community, Florida community in our thoughts.
Here we go, boys and girls. Ready? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No, we're not going to sing.
Thank you. I know we have some very anxious Mohansick kindergartners here tonight, don't we?
It is so wonderful to see my friends from kindergarten here. Welcome, Mohansick kindergartners.
Hi, Dr. Hatter.
So we have a wonderful presentation in store talking about creativity in kindergarten, and having visited so many of your classrooms, I know that there's a lot of creativity happening in your classrooms, and we cannot wait to hear your presentation tonight. So welcome to our Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, boys and girls. Mrs. Kelsey's going to talk to the Board of Education for a minute, and then we'll get started, okay? So good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking Dr. Hatter and Mrs. O'Shea and the Board of Education for having us here tonight to share some good news from Mohansick. So this year, one of the areas that Dr. Hatter had asked each school to talk about in one of their good news presentations is the area of creativity and innovation. So this presented a challenge for us at first, not because we didn't think we had any creativity at Mohansick, but because we have so much of it that we weren't sure what to bring to you tonight. So there are many ways that Mohansick students show their creativity in their writing, in their problem solving, in their musical endeavors, in the E-Steam shop, just to name a few. So tonight we chose to focus on art, specifically creativity in kindergarten art. Kindergartners are by their very nature creative and innovative, every day, all day long. And when we provide the right environment, all the tools and wonderful art teachers, their creativity shines through. Speaking of art teachers, I'd like to thank Mrs. Garrett, who's here tonight, and Mrs. Richards for their wonderful work with our kindergartners, and specifically to Mrs. Garrett, who really helped so much with this presentation. It was a pleasure working with her. So Henry Matisse, a very famous artist, said, "Creative people are curious, flexible, persistent, independent, with a tremendous spirit of adventure and a love of play." And I think that those words describe our Mohansick kindergartners. So they're going to introduce themselves to you now. Then we'll watch a short documentary, as Mrs. Berry likes to call it, and it tells about a unit of study in art that they've done. After that, we will see firsthand their creative works of art that they've brought to share with you tonight, and then they will have a gift for each of you. Ready, boys and girls, to introduce ourselves? Okay, ready. So instead of going to the end of the line, you're going to stay right where you are in line, okay?
Hi, my name is Paul, and
Paul, try again. Come, I can help you again. Come on, I can help you again. Hi, my name is Paul. This is Paul. And what class is Paul in?
Miss Simone and Stopler's class.
Okay, Paul, good job. Come stand back up. You did great. Okay.
Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I'm in Miss Simone and Stopler's class.
Okay.
Hello, my name is William, and I'm in Mrs. Rattel's class.
Paul, come with me. Come with me, Paul.
Hi, my name is Olivia, and I'm in Mrs. Rattel's class.
Do you want to try again, Paul? Come on, Paul. Paul's going to try again.
Hi,
My name is Paul. Hi, my name is Paul. And I'm in.
Hi, my name is Paul, and I'm in Mrs. Simone Stolper's class.
Good job. Good job. Good job. All right. Did you go yet, honey? You did.
Hi, my name is Dylan, and I'm in Mrs. Voach and P's class.
Step back, Dylan. Good job. Okay.
Hi, my name is Ethan, and I'm in Mrs. Voach and Mrs. P's class.
Good job. Turn that way, honey.
Hi, my name is Travis, and I'm in Mrs. Randecker's class. Hi, my name is Brindley, and I'm in Mrs. Randecker's class.
No. Turn around, look that way.
Hi, my name is Noah, and I'm in Mrs. Silver's class.
Good job. Okay, Natalie.
Hi, my name is Natalie, and I'm Mrs. Silver's class.
Good job.
Hi, my name is Christian. I'm in Miss Dobazo's class.
Good.
Hi, my name's Olivia. I'm in Mrs. Dobazo's class. Hi, my name is Marcus, and I'm in Mrs. Martin's class.
Good job, Marcus.
Hi, and they were calling, and they were Miss Buttercup.
Good job, Paul. Good job, boys and girls. All right, so now we're going to watch the documentary. Everybody, face the screen. Here it goes.
Primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, by listening to the story Mouse Paint by Ellen Stoll Walsh, and then watching a demonstration of how to combine paint on paper using various types of bristle and sponge brushes. Students experimented with the creation of secondary colors by visiting color mixing stations, large sheets of white paper and 2 primary colors per table, and combining 2 primary colors to collaboratively paint the large sheets of paper in a secondary color. Students then added line and texture to the painted papers by using plastic forks to create line-based designs in the wet paint. As the students worked collaboratively to combine the primary colors and create secondary colors on the large sheets of paper, they enthusiastically encouraged each other to experiment with the paints to create varying shades of color and creative effects with the forks. Their excitement about the magic they are creating with the colors was a joy to observe, and the positive energy in the classroom was palpable. As the students listened to the story, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, their attention was directed to the technique Mr. Carl uses to create the images, which is a form of collage using individual shapes or images assembled to create a different whole using painted paper. As we looked at the different shapes Mr. Carl used to create his butterfly wings, we defined several shapes that we could use to create ours. We talked about ovals, teardrops, and circles, and the children watched a demonstration of how you can draw your shape on the back, or white side of the painted paper, before cutting it out. Students were given small pieces of paper and got to work creating the shapes that they would have combined to create their wings. Some students discovered that they could draw and cut one shape and then use it as a template for their other shapes so that their wings were symmetrical. Other students wanted each part of their wings to be unique and drew each shape individually. As the students created an assortment of wing shapes, they began to glue them to a black background. As they began to layer shapes on top of each other, we talked about complementary colors, or which colors look best together. For example, does the green shape look better on top of another green shape or on an orange shape? So they started to make informed decisions about where to glue their shapes. We also talked about how to arrange their wing shapes towards the center of the page to create a balanced composition. Some students made independent choices about whether or not their wings should be symmetrical on the page. The bright colors and textures were striking against the black backgrounds, and students were thrilled with how their butterflies took shape. On the final day of our color mixing and collage project, we talked about the different skills we learned along the way. Many of the students commented that they would like to give their butterflies as gifts to their family and friends, which sparked a conversation about kindness, caring, friendship, sharing, the meaning of empathy, and how we can do small things to make the world better. This inspired us to add some positive words to our works of art, to add to their beauty and unique representation of each student.
Thank you. That was Mrs. Garrett, our art teacher, who did the narration and wrote that so beautifully. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you bear with me for 1 minute, we'll set up a little surprise. They'd like to show you their work. Okay. All right, boys and girls, are you ready? Okay, we want to show the Board of Education, so we want to hold our letters. All right, Paul, lead us off.
W, waiting to see what we made.
Hold up your W.
E, each collage is unique.
Hold up your E.
A, all of them are beautiful. Oh, reading books before we started.
Hold up your R. Good.
I forgot one.
It's okay.
E, experimenting with pink color.
Good job. Hold up your E. Okay. Next word.
C, creating a collage.
Good job. Hold up your C. Letter C. Move over here, letter C, a little bit. Okay. Hold up your letter.
R, red, yellow, and blue are primary colors.
Good job, R. It's upside down.
E, each shape was made from painted paper.
Nice and loud.
A, an artist, that's me.
Hold up your A. Hold up your A.
T, teardrops, ovals, and circles.
Good job. Hold up. Turn this way. Hold up your I.
I, innovators, that's who we are.
Good job. Hold up your letter.
V, very busy kindergartners. E, engagement, excitement, and kindergarten.
Carly, ready? We are excited
We started
to show us your work. Our work.
work.
Good job. All right, boys and girls, hold up your letters. What do we want to tell everybody? We are. And now we'll count to 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Turn around your work. Show them. Good job, boys and girls. What do you think? Beautiful, right?
Absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. These are so beautiful. This is something that I think moms and dads, like, you would frame and put up in your house. They're so beautiful. And they worked so hard, and I'm so proud of them. We want to have them put them down for a minute because they have a gift for you. they'd like to give you a gift. And then I'll let Mrs. Berry end with just a few words. So if we take the artwork from them, and Miss O'Neill, you want to hand them? So boys and girls, when you get your gift, go give it to someone. And remember what we said we were going to tell them. This is for you. Okay. So go ahead, Marcus. Come give it. Okay, go ahead. Good, Miss O'Neill. You can come around this way too, guys. Come this way. Everybody needs a butterfly.
How are you, Mrs. Kelsey?
Mrs.
Oh my
Reynolds.
gosh, that's so beautiful.
I get
Thank
kindness.
you so
Oh, I
much.
love it.
And it says peace on the back.
I think we need one over here.
Did you make
Do we have one over here? I know we have an extra one.
someone you know?
Oh, Dr. Hatter, you got a lot. So, Dr. Hatter, can we share some kindness with your fellow board members? Dr. Hatter, those extras, why don't you share them with, spread that kindness around and share them with someone in your office or however you'd like to. So I'm going to let Mrs. Berry just say a few words.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Kelsey. Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Hatter, Mrs. O'Shea, Mr. Cole. I hope you enjoyed our presentation. We love Mohansick. We love everything about our precious school, and it begins here in kindergarten. And as you know and we know, that it really is a team effort. My kindergarten team is here, and we have Mrs. Garrett, who is here. We have Mrs. Cairns, one of our CTAs. We have our speech teacher here. Where's Miss Lancelota? We have so many. I don't want to miss out anyone. And all of our parents here supporting us. This is the feeling every day at Mohansick because it is a special place. And boys and girls, we are so proud of you. You did such a fantastic job, and everyone here is so, so happy. So again, a special thanks to Mrs. Kelsey, my teacher coordinator, who loves the good news and stresses over it, but it always comes out so amazing, and Miss O'Neill, our assistant principal, who helps in every way. So again, parents, thank you for sharing your precious children with us. We just love being with our kindergartners. So thank you for giving us the time.
Mrs.
Thank
Berry,
you.
thank you. Before we break, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge our wonderful Mohansick faculty and staff who are here tonight. They give so much to your children, to my own children, and to all of the children of Mohansick each day. So Mohansick faculty, thank you so much for not only being here tonight, but for all you do day in and day out for our students. And boys and girls, you were wonderful. Here's what I'm going to do. I will share these, but first I'm going to hang them up in my office, and what I'll do is I'll email your teachers with a picture of these in my office, and you can see how they look hanging right over my desk. Does that sound good? All right, good. Boys and girls, you did such a great job. You weren't shy, you spoke up, and you really learned a lot from this. I am so, so proud of you. Well done. Very well done, boys and girls.
Thank you all.
Okay, those were just the cutest kids. Absolutely. Cute is right. All right, we're up to public comment. Is there anybody wishing to speak on agenda-related items? Nope? Okay, we are going to go right into our superintendent's report.
Okay, well, it's definitely difficult to follow that act. The students were remarkable, absolutely wonderful. So I wanted to take a moment to just comment briefly on the horrific incident in Parkland, Florida, and just share that school security is something that our district takes very seriously. It's something that is always on our mind, and we're fortunate to have some very skilled consultants who we work with, and Mr. Cole is just such a talented person in this area. So I do want you to be aware the safety and security of your children is our highest priority. There is nothing that we do that is more important than that. I entrust my own children to attend school here, and I'm fully confident in their safety and security each day, and I just hope that you share that same confidence that I have. we stand with the students in Florida, in that community in Parkland, Florida, and our heart goes out to them. And we're just so sorry that any community would have to experience that. So I just wanted to begin with that. On another note, we'll be presenting on our budget. We're in the 4th presentation of our budget season. So at this point, I will turn the meeting over to Mr. Cole, who will present on our budget.
Thank you, Dr. Hatter. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is indeed the 4th presentation in a 7-part series. In the following slides, we'll discuss the anticipated state aid revenue, status of the district's total cash reserves position, and we'll review the tax cap calculation for the 2018-2019 budget year. We'll also be asking the Board of Education to authorize the submission of the tax cap formula to the Comptroller's Office. Here's a summary view of our current expectation for state aid in 2018-2019. The first highlighted, yellow highlighted column represents the governor's proposed state aid for our school district next year. These are the numbers we're currently using in our budget and as tax rate estimates. We're using these numbers to ultimately estimate tax rate changes and the compliance with the tax cap limits. Since revenue is such a large part of that formula, the governor's proposal is subject to change based on the final adoption of the budget in Albany. I will draw your attention to the items noted as expense-driven on the chart. Our transportation aid will increase next year as a result of our current year costs rising. We have added buses to our existing routes this year, in part to handle the uptick in enrollment experienced last summer. Our building aid will increase now that all of the final cost reports for the 2006 bond projects have been filed with the state, and as we complete smaller cash-funded projects as well. In total at this time, we expect state aid to increase by approximately $643,000, or 3.96%. We will be discussing the tax cap formula in just a minute, but the first line of this total revenue chart reflects the results of that formula. The total tax levy for 2018-19 will be limited to a 0.09% increase. The charts above the line item details show the tax levy remaining relatively unchanged from year to year. The state aid number reflected here ties into the preceding chart we just discussed, the governor's proposed budget for state aid to our school district. We're also estimating that we will need to use just under $1.5 million of cash reserves to comply with the tax cap. This figure is in line with the average cash reserve contributions over the past 5 years. Our district reserves remain robust. We have currently used just over $3.5 million of reserves in the current 2017-2018 school year. We expect the tax certiorari numbers to grow substantially in the balance of the current year. We know of up to 3 individual claims that are near imminent settlement. The aforementioned use of cash reserves to comply with the tax cap will come from the residual reserves listed here. Note the initial funding of the capital reserve at $6 million. The reserve, as we have mentioned in previous presentations, was established by voters in 2017. We anticipate placing a resolution in front of the voters this May to access the first money for projects to be undertaken. The allowable tax levy growth factor for 2018-2019 is 2%, but as you will see, this will not equate to a 2% tax levy increase for the Yorktown Central School District. To the contrary, as we mentioned previously, after taking into account the impact of capital expenditures reductions in the cap formula, our allowable tax levy growth will be 0.09%. This is the tax cap formula that's provided to the school districts by the State Comptroller's Office. I've included some of the primary variables that will be plugged into the formula. Again, as you will see on the next chart, our allowable levy growth factor is less than 0.1%. Here is the actual tax cap formula for our district for the 2018-2019 school year. We start with the prior year tax levy and make adjustments for growth factors, levy growth, and capital expenditures net of building aid. Note the large decline in the capital expenditure exclusion from year to year. We talked about that in our last presentation. The 2001 bond issue matures in the 2017-18 school year. That produces a large reduction in the budget, which in turn limits the tax levy growth in this formula for the 18-19 school year. Our budget and revenue assumptions will allow us to comply with the tax cap, but as we mentioned in previous slides, we are requesting the Board of Education approve the use of just over $1.5 million of capital reserves to comply with the 0.09% tax cap limit. So this evening, we have 3 questions for the Board of Education in regard to the tax cap calculation. Number 1, do you approve of the calculation as we've presented it here tonight, allowing us to file the calculation with the Comptroller's Office by March 1st? 2, the tax cap filing I mentioned requires that we affirm we will not seek to override the tax cap limit. Shall we affirm that we will comply with the tax cap? And 3, do we have your authorization to use the aforementioned cash reserves to comply with the tax cap? Just a reminder of the budget presentation series dates. Fifth presentation in our series will take place on March 5th. Topics of the discussion that evening will be a review of the entire instruction component of the budget, inclusive of technology. We thank you for your attention. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Thank you, Tom. I still always wonder who wrote that formula. It's an amazing one. All right, we'll start with questions. Anthony, do you have any questions? No? Pete?
Tom, what would our options be if we decided not to use our reserves
To comply with the tax cap?
Yeah.
What would our options be if we didn't use the cash reserves to comply with the tax cap? There'd only be 2 options. We'd have to come up with some other form of revenue other than the cash reserves that equals $1.5 million, or we would have to reduce the budget by $1.5 million, take $1.5 million of cost out of the budget. Or override the cap with this, right, I've never considered that an option, to ask the voters to override the tax cap with a 60% approval rate, yes.
Mike?
Tom, I guess one of the things that I always worry about, we've done a really good job building up our reserves and our capacity to handle emergencies and our credit rating. Does anything that we're doing here, do you think that that'll have an impact on any of our abilities there?
I don't believe so. We believe that the $1.5 million we'll need to comply with the tax cap that we're proposing tonight, we'll be able to garner that through efficiencies in the current year's operating budget. We've done some things to pull back expenditures and or review expenditures and spend only on the essentials this year because we anticipated this might be a difficult year. So we don't think it's going to change our position at all.
Okay, great.
Tom, you said that the governor's proposal is subject to change by the final budget. What is the timing of when we find out, when we get notified?
Well, the budget adoption is supposed to be by April 1st. In years past, in recent history, they've done a good job of hitting that date, but we could go past April 1st. So we're hoping that sometime in the next 5 weeks, we'll have a final budget out of Albany, and with any luck, this will be the minimum.
Okay.
And then hopefully you'll be posed the question, what do you want to do with additional state aid? That does happen sometimes. But hopefully within 5 weeks, we'll have that answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cheryl?
Yeah, Tom, you had talked about using about $4 million of the cash reserves this year. Do you forecast that there's any way that we'll be able to replace that money at the end of the year?
I believe so. The $4 million we're using this year, 2.5 million of that was a function of last year's budget. We used $2.5 million worth of reserves to comply with the tax cap and to replace revenue from the capital projects that were maturing, the bonds that were maturing. So we're not dipping, and the other portion, the balance of that was for encumbrances that were carried over from the prior fiscal year. All of that was planned out in advance. So we don't believe at this point that we're in danger of degrading our reserve position in any way based on what we're proposing. We're highly confident with the proposal as the way it's structured.
Yeah. Lisa?
Yeah, I actually have two questions. If the voters approve the use of the cash reserve, what we talked about at the last meeting was our high credit rating. Would it affect our high credit rating?
The use of the cash reserves?
Yeah.
No, we don't believe so. We have an obligation based on one of the reserves that we have funded at its maximum level, which is the pension reserve, the Employee Retirement System Pension Reserve. We have an obligation on an annual basis to use a portion of that reserve towards that purpose. So under any normal circumstance, we would be here suggesting to you that we need to offset some of the pension cost with that particular reserve. We don't believe that we believe that at June 30th of the end of the 2018-2019 school year, our total reserve picture in terms of as a percentage of budget and in total cash amounts will not be significantly degraded from where it is right now. So we're really confident with this. Unless there's some unforeseen incident that occurs that requires us to come back to you and use large sums of money, we don't see that on the horizon right now. We're in good shape with our union contracts with regard to negotiation and how they're staggered. So we don't see anything that is significantly on the horizon that might cause us any kind of pause to revisit our proposal here this evening.
And my second question is, you said it would take about 5 weeks before we know if the governor's proposed budget would go through. Historically, does it go through as we anticipate, as it's proposed here, or does it typically change?
It does change. I will say to you that it's rare that it changes below the initial proposal, which is why we're pretty confident with what we're proposing here this evening. We believe this to be the floor, if you will, especially in an election year in Albany. So based on our history, and this is the 18th or 19th budget I put together, I don't ever remember the number going down from this point.
Thank you.
So Tom, when we talked about the capital expenditures as a large negative in the tax cap calculation, and that's because the one bond has fallen off the table for us. We have other bonds on the table, plus we have cash projects. So how will those work in future years as capitalization goes?
Well, we expect the situation to normalize after this current year for a period of about 5 years. Then you're going to start to see debt mature each year for the next 5 years after that. So there will be some impact on the tax cap calculation 5 years out in each year, but nowhere near the levels we experienced this year, which was a $3 million decline.
And how does our cash projects play into that number as well?
Well, the cash projects are considered as part of the formula itself as a capital expenditure, just like the borrowed monies we have.
Even the cash reserve, the capital reserve fund would be considered
No, the cash reserve itself would not be considered part of that formula.
But if we use, say next year we use money out of the capital reserve fund,
It's not going to impact the formula.
it would not change the capitalization cost at all?
No.
Okay, so that's only strictly on bonded projects?
Right, because in this particular case, first off, the accounting for it is a little bit different, but 100% of the costs are going to be offset by 100% of the revenue. So in the other case, the revenues and the costs don't necessarily match, and that's where you get this disparity in the formula itself.
Gotcha. Anthony?
So this number is all tentative, but comforting, because typically, for the last, I don't know how many years I've been doing law, so the governor does show some mercy on us and throw us a little extra cash, not guaranteed though.
Right.
But it is comforting that we're at this point right now and it all looks good for the public.
Yes, what we're proposing tonight is consistent with the average that we've used as a school district over the past 5 or 6 years.
Right.
So we're really confident with this.
Okay, any other questions? Tom, you've always done a great job, and you've always done it on the conservative side, so at the end of the day, there's always something that doesn't come back and bite us.
Thank you. And just to recap,
Yes.
the tax cap. We have your approval to file the cap as it's been presented?
Yes, do we need a motion, or is
You
it
don't-
just consensus?
No, it'll just go into the minutes unless you think of it.
Are we
We'll put it
okay?
in the minutes. And we're going to say that we will not seek to exceed the cap.
Correct,
correct?
okay, yes. And the third one?
Third is that you're, at this point, you're authorizing us to go forward with the rest of our planning using $1.5 million in cash reserves to comply with the tax cap.
Correct? You.
Good.
All right, so
Thank
we are
you.
good. We can go up to the controller's office with that?
Thank you very much.
Beautiful, thank you so much. Anything else for superintendent's report? No? Okay. So we're up to personnel. So whereas employee number 5206, in his capacity as cleaner, has not satisfactorily fulfilled his obligations during his probationary period, be it resolved that employee number 5206 be terminated effective February 23rd, 2018, pursuant to the Westchester County Civil Service rules and paid in lieu of notice for the period from February 16th through February 23rd, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have policies. This is a motion for a first read and an adoption of the following policy. It's 4770, graduation. And I just want to explain, this one came down rather quickly, that we had to have a policy in place by tomorrow. So, yes, we had the attorneys working on it over the break. We figured the best thing to do was to adopt it, and then we can bring it back before the policy committee and make any kind of edits we want. But this is approved by the attorney, so we figured it was better to be in compliance with the law.
And is this, because it was last amended in '09, is it basically what was in there in '09 with no edits?
No, it's got some new rules. Lisa, can you talk about the new diplomas? It has to do with the new graduation requirements, correct?
Yes, it has to do with the new graduation requirements, particularly the commencement credential and skills and achievement commencement credential for students with disabilities. So this policy reflects all the latest versions of regulation changes that have taken place.
So we're not adopting it today, though.
We're adopting it tonight
On the
because
first reading?
we have to have it in place for tomorrow. And then the policy committee will go back and make whatever tweaks we think is necessary, but this keeps us legally compliant right now. So I just wanted to be above board with that one, right, Cheryl?
Yes, yep.
Okay, so can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we can do the regular first reads. The board will conduct a first read on the following policies. We have 9255 employee references, 9230 drug-free workplace and its regulation. We have 9420 staff evaluations, 9422 family and medical leave, and 9420.2R its regulation. Any questions on any of those? No, okay. And then we have my favorite, deletion of policies. Be it resolved that the following policies and regulations shall be deleted from the policy manual because they were out of date and not necessary. And there's a list below.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we made our 10 this week, Cheryl.
Yeah, we certainly did.
Okay, board action items, school calendar. A motion to approve the school calendar for the 18-19 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Everybody okay with it?
Yep.
All those in
We're good.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Business office. We have a budget transfer. A motion to approve the following budget transfer.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have several contracts. Be it resolved that the Board of Education appoint Zarin and Steinmetz as a special counsel to the Board of Education for the 17-18 school year. A copy of the engagement letter shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? WCD Group appointment. Be it resolved that the Board of Education appoints a WCD Group LLC to provide technical assistance to the district relating to environmental matters. A copy of the letter of the engagement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then we have a motion to approve the addendum number 1 to the contract with WCD Group to provide technical assistance to the district relating to environmental matters pending district council review.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Silent G. A motion to approve the contract with Silent G Productions for the provision of theatrical sets and related services for the production of Children of Eden in the Yorktown High School Auditorium in the amount of $7,850. Term of service from February 12th through March 12th, 2018, with schedule of work and rehearsals to be determined with the director.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Gifts, grants, and donations. A motion to accept the following gifts, grants, and donations with gratitude, $1,074 from Ms. Rosemary Gridley for the support of the Yorktown High School Company dance performance.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, it's my understanding that she collected the money from the flower sales, and that's why she's the one named on it, but it was the flowers that were purchased for the company.
Nice.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're up to board comment. Anthony, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
I know.
Of course, Mohansick, one of my favorites. I love, love, love the kids. They were fantastic, fabulous tonight. But the thing that was the most fabulous tonight was the Bandapalooza that I walked in was unbelievable. I've never seen anything in the years that I've been doing it, never walked into anything. The bands were incredible from 5th grade on up to 12th grade. What I heard was professional and enlightening and wonderful. So we just keep supporting them and the arts and band and whatever it is, creativity was incredible tonight. And I thank all the art teachers and music teachers and, I mean, all the teachers, but that creativity flowed through me tonight, and more power to them. They were fantastic tonight.
Good. Pete? No? Mike?
Nope.
Rashmi?
Yeah, I echo Anthony's thoughts. Bandapalooza was great, and when I saw the kindergartners here soon after that, I thought, wow, my kids were, this age, and then here they are, in 5th and 7th grade and playing in the band. They grow up so fast, but it was really nice to see the youngest children, and then again the 5th through 12th graders. It was wonderful.
Yeah, just to piggyback on Bandapalooza, we do it all over again on Wednesday night for the String Festival. And again, all the kids are joined, and it really is nice to see them together and see where they started and where they end up and see them work together. And to tie it in, once again, we saw our kindergartners here. It's nice to see where it all began and to see how far our kids come. But I have to say the bar has been raised so high. These kids are outstanding and very impressive. And their public speaking skills, I say it every time, it's just amazing, really amazing. And that's such an important trait to have in life, and they're starting them so early, which is wonderful.
Lisa?
Mohansick, it really is a special place. My kids started out there. Miss Dalbazo was my son's kindergarten teacher. He's now a sophomore in college. Miss Kelsey was my daughter's kindergarten teacher. She's now a senior. Miss Berry was the principal, and so it is a special place to me. And to see those little ones here, it really is an amazing place, and they start out there, and to watch them stand there with that microphone speaking into that camera, what they do for them at that school and how far they come when they become seniors and beyond, it really is because of what they do at Mohansick, and we should all be very proud of the work that's done here.
Yeah, they are so cute, and I'm always so happy to start a meeting watching our students because it reminds us what our real purpose is here. So it's always a great reminder, and you can always eat those little kids up. They're the best. Ron, Lisa, Tom, anything? You're good? All right. So can I have a motion to go into executive? I'm sorry, we need public comment. Anybody wishing to speak in the audience? Okay, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to go into executive session for the matters pertaining to the employment history of a particular individual and legal matters?
So moved.
Second.
With no intention to come back into public session.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good night, everyone.